for joining. Okay, got it. For joining our meetup today. The topic is interesting itself, but I would really like to invite you and motivate you to be participants of this meetup. Basically, what I want to share with you and my idea is to facilitate this meetup and to share with you my experience, my knowledge, some things that I read and experienced in my, let's say, 15 years career in IT and in management. But I think that value that we might get from me sharing my knowledge or experience, let's say on a scale from 1 to 10, might be 2 or 3 for all of us. But if we are included, if all of us share our experience and a little bit of knowledge and opinion about this topic, I think that we could get maybe 8, 9, 10, depending on how included you are. So please, let's have a let's say, benefit of working in this large group, and let's talk about the topic. We are all in a way included in either some agile team or reading about it, obviously interested in topic. So the plan for today is to go through some, let's say, this is a rough agenda. This is the plan that I have. I want to talk to you about these topics. And of course, for the people who are not aware of some things, I will share some general knowledge and some experience that I had about self-organization. But I really expect this to go into some unknown direction, because you should really try to share your experience and knowledge with everyone else. Who knows what we might discover if we behave in this way. How this sounds to you guys? So I will have a lot of questions during the meetup, okay? Great. Sounds great. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit about me. Alexander announced that I will say something about me. I usually don't do this, but this is a topic that is somehow connected with my personal experience, and this is why I want to tell you my personal story before we start this meetup. So I started my career working as a developer. So my background is a technical background. I finished programming on university and worked 2 years in university as a teaching assistant. So after a couple of years working as a developer, so being a fully technical person, I started working as a team lead, and briefly after that, I got the position of head of IT department. And for me, that was the most stressful period of my life and my career. So I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of a rough time. I made terrible mistakes in order to get to a point to understand what is my role and how could I and should I help the team from that perspective and from that position. So this is why I like to talk about this topic, because my personal experience in my career started in a very bad way. So I understand perfectly both what is happening to people who transition to that position without enough knowledge and background and enough support from company. And then how can we transition from that point to a point of working with fully self-organized, and if you want, what we want to achieve, high-performing teams. So this is going to be a little bit, let's say, about me and a little bit about my experience, okay? So guys, we are talking about self-organization. It's a very interesting topic. It's a hot topic. Everyone is mentioning self-organization almost everywhere where we talk about agile, where we talk about new ways of organizing work. But what self-organization in general means? So usually it's preserved as black or white. So either you are self-organized or you are not self-organized, which is actually not true. So this is why I wanted to start with this. I don't want to go into details of definition, what is self-organization and how. We will talk in details about the topic. but in general, I want you to understand for start that it's not something that either is or is not. There are a lot of levels that we can go through. There are a lot of shades of this, let's say, topic. And there are some things that we can use to distinguish, to check, to recognize where we are as a team, where we want to be as a team, but it's not black or white. So basically what we are using here is a so-called authority matrix. So we are talking about team's responsibility versus management responsibility, okay? So in traditional management, usually the responsibility of the team or team members was executing the task, which is in this matrix managed lead team, and then moving towards the, let's say, right end of this matrix, depending on what our team is responsible for and what is management responsible for in our company. We have either manager lead team, self-managing or self-organizing team, self-designing team, and self-governing. So as you can see on y-axis, we have a responsibility of executing tasks, okay? Then responsibility of monitoring and managing work process, basically progress of our work, then designing the team and its context, and setting overall direction. So when we are talking about setting overall direction, what are we talking about? We are talking about organizational objectives, if you want. So strategy, who is defining strategy? Who is defining our mission? What we want to achieve as a company, as a team? So in case of self-governing team, they are designing that, okay? So what can we, where can we find an example of self-governing team? In companies, in corporate, let's say, organization, in companies that we work on, we can find it usually on top level, executive levels, groups, and so on. Why are they self-governing? Because there is no one above them to tell them what to do and how to do, okay? So not that they are the most capable and competent people of this designing and managing, this is their position, okay? So self-governing teams are defining overall direction, designing the team and context, monitoring their performance, and doing the tasks, some action items that they agree on, or so on. What are self-designing teams? So self-designing teams are the teams that are not setting the overall strategy, but all three other things that we listed here. So if you can, take a look at this matrix, you can see that actually self-organizing or self-managing teams and what we call self-organized teams in Agile are responsible for execution of their tasks and monitoring and managing work progress. And why is this important? It's important because very, very often when we talk about self-organization, people either in organizations or managers or whoever, I see that really a lot. They think that self-organization means people will do whatever they want to do, however they want to do, in any moment they want to do it. Simply, it's almost like some kind of anarchy or hippie or I don't know what. So that's a misconception. Simply, it's not true. So self-organization on the level of Agile teams means that teams are responsible to execute their tasks, but also they're responsible about to pay attention of their own progress and to make some correction actions towards executing their tasks. Nothing more than that, really. So if it's so, let's say, easy to understand what is self-organization, then why so hard? Why we cannot achieve this? Because it's not something that will happen overnight. And it's not something that will happen by itself. So we are talking about this topic and we will go into details of how we can achieve it, but it's not something that we can just have. If we declare starting from 2022, we are Agile company, we have self-organized teams, what will change? Nothing, zero, literally nothing. Go and self-organize doesn't work. So we need to pay attention what is our environment and what we are doing and how we are doing with our teams if we are a company, serious company that wants to do agile transformation, and not to expect that this will happen overnight. So this is ongoing process, even for the teams that are self-organized and get there. Things can change, you know. It's enough for some people to leave the company or the team or to change anything, and self-organization can be under risk of going into some other direction. Okay, guys, so
Maro, I'm so sorry because of interrupting you. Could you please just enter a full screen if you can, because
I'm not sure I have new
version of the program,
yes.
the PowerPoint.
No, this is not a PowerPoint. This is a PDF.
Oh, that's a PDF. Okay, then I just have to ask the participant which asked the question, that was Alina. Alina, is it good enough for you to see the presentation?
Let me check, maybe I can do this.
It's a little busy, but no problem. I can certainly manage that. Thank you so much for noticing.
Okay, and you can check up. Okay. Maro, okay, if you can't just find the full screen, I don't want to take your time by finding it. So yeah. Alina will be good with this one, I hope.
If I need to zoom in the text, let me know, and the presentation will be shared with you as well. So you will be able to take a look. So first question for you guys. Is there anyone, or are there a lot of people on our meetup who believe that they work in self-organized team right now? Can you, I don't know, like, raise hand, whatever. Do you think you're working in self-organized team? Oh, Zorica, great.
Hi, Marija. So I will be super short. So basically, I work in a fully remote company. So I think in that kind of environment, you have to be self-organized. Otherwise, it's not really going to function.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Do you think you're working in self-organized team? And let's use this. So basically, is the team that I'm working with taking care of tasks? And Ivana, yes, okay. Okay, so
I'm not sure how to put my hand down. I raised it. Yes, we do 100% there. And I raised my hand. I'm not sure.
It's going to lower down, yeah, by itself.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I didn't know. Didn't want to think that I'm like, you know.
It's just a kid, Maya, don't worry.
I like this response 100% there. Let's see. I will have some questions later. Okay, so do you have some experience that you would like to share? For example, a previous experience working in a team that was not self-organized, and how is different comparing to working in a self-organized team? What is the biggest difference that you see, other than, I don't know, there is no manager to say, do this or do that? Can you share your experience? What is the difference? Zorica, please.
Oh yeah, it's me again. So I was cabin crew, and at that job, it's not very like self-organized, because there are like certain rules you have to stick to. And no matter how creative you are, or how, for example, like you have maybe very good education or something, you are not allowed to add any new ideas, because basically like everything needs to fit in the mold. And there is like not much freedom. And like, I mean, if you're, for example, a person who is very creative, or you like to think outside of the box, that's not very possible. However, at the work that I'm like currently doing, which is, as I said, fully remote, that's completely something else, like completely like some other universe, right? So basically like there actually it's good if you are super creative and if you think outside of the box, and also if you're fully independent.
Ivana, do you want to share something with us?
Yeah, Ivana Spasovic.
Yes, yes. Oh, sorry, we have more. Ivana, I didn't know.
I don't know. I'm just asking. Yeah, I think I have a vast experience because I have been working in very big company as an enterprise agile coach, and also on a team level. How we managed to do it, and I would disagree with the previous attendant, Zorica. Sorry, I don't think that this Corona setting brought any difficulty in that sense. We just we were creative in a way that we purchased some tools, and then we do the organization of each event on our own. The specificality of this company is that they didn't have Scrum Masters, which is great in not totally, but great in a way that we managed to engage the whole team to cover for that role. So in that sense, when we change each sprint or each second sprint, for example, we change the role of a Scrum Master who is potentially facilitating some of the events in the team, then we actually spread that role on each team member, and everyone is responsible. So they are more or less organizing themselves according to the needs that they get, requirements, of course, from the product owner.
Thank you.
That's a great way to do it, for example.
And if I may interrupt, this is for me really unbelievable experience that I meet a long friend of mine. I have not expected to have on this call and see her lovely face, Ivana from Berlin. Hi there. Thank you, Agile Humans and everyone on connecting people.
Well, Agile Humans is all about humans, so this is a great proof of that.
Yay, hey, Ivana.
Hey. Sorry, everyone.
This is really unbelievable, very emotional for me. Thank you, guys. Sorry for interruption.
No,
people
it's okay.
First, people first.
Yeah, it's okay. Totally okay.
This is why I shared the agenda, and I told you who knows where we will end up today. So thank you both, Zorica and Ivana, for these comments. You gave me two interesting things. Now we are already shifting our agenda. So I like a lot Zorica's comment because she reminded me of something that is not stated in this presentation, when we cannot self-organize. So there are some moments, there are some environments, there are some needs of our either business or our industry where we simply cannot. So I can give you a couple of examples. She said the cabin crew in a plane. I can already think of some way of self-organization, but there are simply environments like, I don't know, military or prison or, places where we cannot just, we cannot even live this culture that we are trying to share here. So we need to get back to some other way of organization, which is usually something like this. So manager-led lead team or something like that. We need to have a measure and feeling where we can do it, because it's not like self-organization will work everywhere and we can implement it everywhere. And it's not needed. We are talking about agile environments, and we are talking about business environments where we can have benefits of self-organization. Another thing that I wanted to share with you, and Ivana reminded me on this, she said, luckily we didn't have Scrum Masters. And this is a really, I feel this comment because we will talk about one of the pitfalls of self-organization, where we implement, for example, Scrum, and then everyone in company, including the teams themselves, they think that now Scrum Master is the person who should organize the teams. And this is why we usually get into this knot of not having self-organized teams. When we have Scrum moms and whatnot, good Scrum Masters will understand that they are not there permanently, that they need to coach the team, and it's irrelevant how do we call that person. We can call it Agile Coach, we can call it Scrum Master. The point is to coach the team how to be self-organized, and then to let them be. So the point is not for Scrum Master to be with the team all the time, although environments and teams are changing, unfortunately. We are trying to have stability, but I don't know, somehow from my experience, it's very hard to achieve stability, to have teams working together 2-3 years. You know, it's in IT, it's hard to achieve that. So thank you for both comments. I want to ask you one more question. How would you recognize a self-organized team? Is there something that you see, for example, either working as a Scrum Master or Agile coach or working in a team, and you say, okay, this team is self-organized? Is there something that is one thing or several things that could be a specific or self-organized team? What do you think, guys? Yes, please.
Okay, I mean, you know, just to make it clear, I'm not a coach or something. Just like a team member, yeah. But I would say definitely a way to like share feedback freely without any fear that you're gonna, you know, like get some negative points or something. Because I guess, you know, when you kind of discuss, and even when you don't agree with someone, it can kind of result in some new idea, right? So I would say definitely like sharing feedback and having that freedom to express your mind, your like, as I said, some ideas or some kind of perspectives that are maybe unique and new. Being able and being free to do that, I think it would be like one of the signs.
Thank you, Zoritsa. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Ivana, please.
Oh, I think I didn't lower my hand, but anyhow.
It was a hand from previous time.
I don't know if you are asking on a visual level, let's say on some.
Let's talk about visual level. Great. Yes, yes. If you want, of course. I like that.
Yeah, if we're talking about boards.
How do they look? Yeah.
Yeah. So that would mean if I would be following up on the board on the daily level to see whether they are moving tickets like in a sprint, like everyone their own individual tasks, let's say, or also if through the burn down chart or velocity we could see maybe, but I'm not sure about that one. That would maybe show more of ability, let's say, continuous development or improvement. But when I would enter the team, I would see it from the interaction between the team members. And when they would take over like initiative to either facilitate the stand-up, use a timeout for them on a daily basis, or, you know, when they make arrangements, you know, we have event approaching, who is going to, in the absence of someone who would you could tell by that.
Great.
But when they're silent, something is wrong usually.
Yeah, silence.
Silence is
sign of a lot of things. Okay, so we are talking about this supportive context. Okay, so there is either infrastructure or I don't know, information sharing or a shared goal. We are talking about supporting each other's, right?
And responsibilities. That's what I raised the hand.
Yes,
it's about accountability for as an individual, about your tasks, scorecards, KPIs, clear goals, growth path, people first, and then everything else. That's what I would add on top of what everyone else said. It's also a visual thing, you know. And I will lower my hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. So now I want to share with you something that really caught my attention. It's fabulous, Mike Cohn, and I really like to share things that he's talking about. So two points that basically he made when he was talking about self-organized teams. Not every team will self-organize in the same way, and that's fine. So it's okay. There is no need for every team to self-organize in the same way. What that means? That means that if I'm an Agile coach or Scrum Master and my self-organized team decides to have one person who will be responsible for something, that's fine. We don't need to intervene. We shouldn't make the team self-organize in the way we want them to self-organize. So each team should find their way of self-organizing. And the best sentence like ever, benefit of allowing the team to self-organize isn't that they will think of something fabulous. They will think of something new that no one could ever think of, but they will own the problem of organizing their work. They will have the ownership over performance and over their work, which is what we want to achieve here. So they have ownership over managing their process, their own process. And then with time, bit by bit, they will get there. They will have the best process possible for themselves if they inspect and adopt, if they improve it, if they feel it like it's their own. So this is the benefit of self-organization. And getting the right people in Agile team is also the topic that he's talking about, that we need to include disciplines in Agile teams, that we need to have mix of technical skills and levels, so both juniors and seniors, and we should encourage discussions among them, we shouldn't hear only senior people in the team. Everyone should have the right to speak and to have their opinion. And how do we do it as an Agile coaches or Scrum Masters? We help them with the various formats of facilitation. Okay, so we either have some breakout rooms, or we encourage everyone to talk, or there are various, let's say, formats to achieve that. And we should consider persistence. It's hard to achieve. It's not the easiest task ever, but if we are building a self-organized team for the project that will last 3 months, the question is whether we should even do it. Okay, so whether we should invest as a company into building a self-organized team if in 3 or 6 months they will not work together anymore. So we want to achieve benefits of self-organization, which is something that is not achieved very fast. Okay. Okay, next topic, triangle of self-organization. I laugh because this is something when I show this to traditional managers, they are like, they're surprised. The self-organization means that we have goals, rules, and pressure. What do you mean pressure? So what we want to achieve and how we want to achieve self-organization, we need to have some boundaries. So this is a triangle of self-organization, which means that we as the managers or Scrum Masters or Agile coaches, we can play with goals, rules, and pressure. And if we play with that in a right way, the self-organization should be achieved in the company. But then how do we do it? So if we take an example of Scrum, for example, framework, we have sprint goals, right? So we have goals that are set for the team. Team is aware of the direction where they should go, okay? There are rules. So the Scrum is a process where we have very strict rules. There are some recommendations, there are some, let's say, rules, but in general, the framework is there. And especially when we are on a shoe level and we are starting implementation, the recommendation is not to change anything. So rules are known to everyone. And then we have pressure, and we are talking usually about time pressure. We are not talking about ringing phones over the night. We are talking about time pressure. And how do we put time pressure on self-organized team? By having a short sprint, okay? Every 2 weeks, we expect that something will happen. And if it doesn't, or if it does, we talk about it, we inspect and adopt. So all 3 conditions are there in order to have teams self-organized. Why is this important? If we don't have rules, they will emerge somehow. How they will be, what they will be, we don't know, but they will emerge. So the same thing as when we are talking about team's values and agreements. Do we need team values and agreements? Do we need them at all? No, we don't have to have a specific workshop or printed, like team's values and agreements in the office wall, but they will emerge. The question is how they will look and whether they will be aligned with the company culture or what we as the managers expect that team will have as values. So the same thing as rules. So regarding the pressure, I said already, usually the pressure is time, okay? So this is why we want to have time-boxed iterations. And this is a little bit tricky, for example, with the frameworks as Kanban. There are cycles in Kanban as well, but there is no, at least not that type of pressure. There are limit work in progress and other mechanisms that can help us achieve self-organization, but not this type of clear pressure like there is in Scrum. Is this okay with everyone? Any comments? Not for now. Okay, guys, let's see the benefits. So is anyone aware of some benefit that you experienced or you think there could be, or how did the self-organization, moving towards self-organization affect teams' efficiency, or anything else that you would like to share on this topic? So basically your experience about benefits of self-organization. Yes, Zorita, please.
So once again, yeah, it's just like from my point of view is like a team member, like a regular person, yeah. So basically, I would say this is not for everyone, as like some people are maybe just, they love to follow the rules, and you know, like they just do not love to kind of have certain freedom to move around, or they cannot basically have such a broad view to kind of let's say on purpose include, as you said, some kind of pressure and so on. So definitely if the people in the team are fit for that, the team and the company are gonna progress super fast. But it's also gonna happen that a lot of people are gonna fall off, and even they're gonna kind of, let's say, you know, like give up or kind of quit, because they will not feel comfortable in that kind of environment.
Mm-hmm. Very good comment. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ivana.
I have experience in changing a process in a team from Kanban to Scrum. But I have to give you another incentive on it. So the benefit was that they speed up the effectiveness, actually. Mm-hmm. Not efficiency, but effectiveness, because we were focused on increment of value. But prior to that, we had to build a team relationship. It was damaged by the previous. I'm not saying that Kanban is not a good process for that team and for the purposes of the product and customer centricity that we wanted to achieve. This was a better process for them, Scrum. So it affected positively, but it needs a really huge focus, yeah, and everyone's input in participation.
Yeah, one more thing. Now you reminded me, which is great. When we are talking about triangle of self-organization, and when we are talking about these goals, rules, and pressure, and everything that we as a company need to, let's say, establish in order to have self-organized teams, those things on micro level, of teams level, need to be aligned with the strategical level, with the company, with company's values and culture, and they should be rooted in a long-term vision. Because if they are not, they stay disconnected from everything else in a company. And I will give you some examples. So if you have your hiring process defined by HR or whoever that is not aligned with working in self-organized team, it will not work. It will not work for sure. Why? Because we are talking about getting the right people in the team. So the first question is your company, is your HR, when you're hiring people for those teams, are they even validating and checking whether people who you're hiring are team players? Can they be part of self-organized team? Because they are fabulous experts in various way and whatnot. But if they are not team players, they can still be part of our company, but maybe they're not suited for this team, okay? For self-organized team, for example. Then long-term vision. If we have goals, sprint goals that are not in any way connected with our roadmap or with our long-term vision, team will not simply feel the value of that. They will not live in the way they should. So sometimes we miss the opportunity to have fully self-organized and high-performing teams by imposing something on team that is not completely compatible with the existing culture. So we are sending mixed messages as a company. This is why it's important to understand this goal on operational level, yes, like this, goals, rules, and pressure, but aligned with other activities in our company. If you have incentives that are promoting individual performance, but you want to build self-organized teams, how do you expect anything will happen, right? So if the guy will get the bonus if he is individual performer and doing something outside of his team, how can that help self-organization? So everything is connected. This is why I said at the beginning, it's not the easiest thing to achieve. It's very complicated and complex, and it depends on the various stuff in organization, not just on how team will work. Sometimes we will be lucky and we will have right individuals and right people. They will be motivated and we will achieve self-organization. But we as a company are responsible to do it. It's not one guy's job. It's not just Agile coach. It's not just Scrum Master. It's not just that team. Everyone has to be aligned if this is something, if this is the place where we want to go. I hope this is okay. So benefits that are usually listed in let's say theory. I don't know. I have some experience with some of these benefits, but let's discuss a little bit. So speed. It's said that teams that are self-organized will somehow easier decide how to meet deadlines. They will simply faster self-organized. This can be also true in a situation where team is very experienced with the topic that they are working on. But sometimes some decisions can be even slower. Okay, so if we have a team of 9 people and they need to agree on something, sometimes it's slower than to have one guy who will make that decision. This is why I said in one moment we need to understand whether our environment and current project and everything around project is suitable for self-organization. If we are talking about some tricky situation when we really need to have a very fast reaction and it's the stakes are very high and whatnot, we cannot have, I don't know, 9 people discussing 5 days. So it can be benefit, but it doesn't have to be necessarily, you know. Sometimes they can be slower in making some decision. Then we have agility. That is, I think, obvious. So priorities can change. Things can, self-organized teams can simply shift their priorities and there is no waiting time, decisions, layer of management and whatnot in order to shift. So agility is there, that's obvious. Then we are talking about quality and customer focus. It can happen, but I don't think that this is the benefit of self-organization itself. I think that this is the benefit of thinking about customer focus in general. So yes, self-organization can help in this, but if we just have a team that is self-organized but is not focused on our customer, this doesn't have to happen necessarily. Less time on team management is obvious. Team buy-in and shared ownership, increased motivation, and innovative and creative environment conducive to growth. So all these things are stated as a benefit. I think the biggest benefit is what Mike Cohn said, the team is owning the process. They don't feel that this is something imposed by management or someone decided that they should do it like this. They own it. So if something is wrong with it, they will fix it. They should, it's their job. Okay, objections. Now we're getting into a point when yeah, we are talking about self-organization, everything is fine, everyone is on board, but that cannot work. I have a lot of examples, and I like to talk about one. I had a workshop with management of one company, and we started talking about self-organization, and majority of people were like, well, this is fine, this is nice, but it can never work. You know, it simply cannot work in theory is nice, but it cannot work in practice. And then we had the workshop.
Sorry, Maro, what is their first reason, like the main reason for that answer?
Mm-hmm. If you ask me, is this. I don't trust team will self-organize. But let me just finish
sorry.
You'll get the, yeah. So we had a Scrum simulation game, and there were several teams. They had, every team had their roles, Scrum Master, Product Owner, they had their backlog, and we ran one sprint with all the ceremonies and everything. And at the end of this Scrum simulation game, they were like, okay, but what about that self-organization? And I told them, guys, you just experienced self-organization. I gave you rules, I gave you time. They had 2 hours to run the sprint, and I gave you a goal, what to do, and you did it. You know, what is the reason why we don't trust in self-organization? The real problem, this is what I stated here. I don't trust the team to self-organize in the way I want them. So yes, they can self-organize, but who knows how that will look, you know? Yes, they can probably achieve something, but is there exactly what I want them to do? Me being some manager or something. So the objections are usually, this is too costly, it needs a lot of time, we don't have right people on board, either we have too junior people or our people are too senior, or as I think Jovana said, Zorica said, sorry, but she said there are some people who are simply not good for self-organization. I would like to question this because, you know, we can all self-organize. On individual level, for sure we can. We can be more or less successful, but we can all self-organize. And we do that. We do that until we get into business environments. We do it in, I don't know, high school, in college, we get married, we buy apartment, we buy car, whatnot. And then we come into the business building and we don't know anything. Someone has to tell us what to do. So for sure we can self-organize. There are people who worked or their previous experience is like that. It's, guys, I would say it's easier for someone else to make decisions for me. It's easier for me to have someone who will do that, make a plan, and if that plan sucks, it's his plan, it's not my plan.
Do you think that maybe that's a habit? That we're used to that traditional way of thinking and working and living, that we are constantly waiting for someone to teach us, to show us their way, but that necessarily doesn't mean that that is the best way. But we're waiting.
Probably is all of it a little bit, you know, starting from school, starting from culture that we come from, starting from everything. Probably is everything, mix of lot of things. And if we are in the environment where people don't like to self-organize, they don't see the benefits. They are just saying, just give me my task. I don't want to think about anything else. It's management's job to organize. It's their role, you know, they should provide this to me. We need to coach these people. Because when they feel the benefit of self-organization, there is no way that they will not like it or they will have the same attitude. You know, they just need to understand that they're getting something with this responsibility. They're getting a lot of things. They just didn't have the time, actually the opportunity to experience this. And the same goes with the managers who don't want to let go. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you regarding managers in agile environment. It's not like they are, I don't know, maniacs who like to control everything. They simply didn't have the chance and opportunity to see and to experience something different. They need alternatives. If we want to do the agile transformation in traditional company where all the managers have been working either as a project managers or line managers or whatnot, we need to offer them something. They need alternative. If you're taking from me my 8 hours task, what will I work on? Go, Ivana, please.
Well, it could be also that this type of managers are control freaks because of their drivers. And then it's sort of imposing a psychological obstacle on the teams. I mean, why wouldn't let's assume we're all adults and mature enough so that we can self-organize. Why would I care how does a team self-organize? It's their thing.
Well, from my experience, it's just fear. It's usually fear of what is my role here. I even have experience where I've been asked by a manager, if you do all that as an agile coach, what will I do? It's just losing because we enter agile transformation and we as a company, we don't prepare people what is going to happen. We are going there, but what will happen? No one understands. And then we have agile coaches and Scrum Masters talking about no management and whatnot. But let's, our next one, managers in self-organized teams. So guys, let's share a little bit. What is your experience in working with managers in agile environment? And what is their role? How do they help or not help? Is there anyone who would like to share? So you're starting a camera. Just to see you. Marija, do you want to share something? Hello, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, sure. So my experience, I liked what you put on the previous slide, and I quite agree with that statement. From my experience, it is the fear of losing control or not having enough impact on the team or the impact that they would like to have on the team. The fear of losing the importance, if you like, and the credibility with the team. So that's pretty much what the basic stuff under this fear of agility and self-organizing teams is.
Do we need managers in agile company? What do you think?
Absolutely, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say yes. And we need them on different levels as well, because we have, if we talk about Scrum, yes, we do have some accountability, such as development teams and Scrum Masters and product owners. But then the Scrum never says that we shouldn't have anything else. So depending on the business, it doesn't have to be software development, could be anything. Depending on the type of the business, we might need and have different roles in addition to those three. So that could be product manager, line managers, any kind of manager who can add value to the organization.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now we are talking about right behaviors that will actually help self-organization and help our company in agile transformation. Yeah. I want to get back to this one. So we are talking about these blue squares. So designing the team and its context, hiring, right? Why do we need team? What are we doing? What is the project? Who is defining this? Scrum is oblivious of this, Agile in general. No one is saying no management. We are talking about operational level, but what about strategy? I never heard of Scrum team for strategic planning. Maybe there is, maybe there are some companies that they have their executive board working as a Scrum team. That would be interesting. But yes, we do need managers, and I agree with Maya, their role change. Their role changes and changes how. So basically, we are talking about self-organization, and we are talking about leadership in agile context. And they either reinforce themselves or they negate each other. Okay. So if we have a right leadership, if we have right mindset and behavior of management, of top management and of all other management, they can help a lot self-organization. They can help a lot in our agile transformation. And lack of clarity may exist around the topic, who is responsible for this? If we are a traditional company going into agile direction, who is responsible to coach those managers, to train them? Who is responsible to train the top management about what is their role now and how it will change? So that cannot be Scrum Master, right? It's somehow, you know, from my experience, they will simply not listen, right? They think that Agile and Scrum is something for teams, right? We will have Scrum teams, but on top level of management level, we don't have to change anything, come on, right, Ivana? So who is responsible? What do you think?
Are you asking me because I raised a hand?
Yeah, in general, I don't know, you, whoever would like you. Do you want to talk about something else?
No, I wanted to address this one because I have, I think, a big experience in this one.
Please.
So my case study from my company, huge one, R&D, hardware, software, also some other research in science combined. All had directors of those departments, so different domains, all wanted to do the agile transformation, engaging me. So the obstacle in transformation of that company, in agile transformation, wasn't on a team level, was on a top level. So to respond to your question, what's needed there is for them to want to be aware that they need to change as well and support that change in the company. So while I'm doing the agile transformation with the teams, managers, product managers, project managers, they are building silos in already existing hierarchy in a silo way.
Yes.
This is not helping at all.
Yes.
So if
but
you...
It's so common. Yeah, I know some agile coaches who ask the question if they can work with C-suite, you know, with C-level of or vice presidents or however. If they cannot work with them, they don't want to accept the job. And I understand that because, you know, implementation can be bottom up, but mindset has to change from the top. If we still have top managers behaving as traditional managers, nothing will change because line managers cannot change if their boss is still required from them to behave in the same way, right? So if Scrum Master comes, and this is a huge misconception. I had a question from one Scrum Master, a junior guy, and he had a very hard time with one manager, and he told me, well, my role is to protect the team. I should go to guy and I should tell him. No, you cannot tell him, nothing will happen. His boss should tell him that his role changed. You cannot tell him as a Scrum Master. So this is how we lose the opportunity to have benefits of self-organization. Yeah, we have Scrum team. Yeah, we have Scrum Masters. We are having daily stand-ups or whatnot. But everyone around those Scrum teams behave in the same way. Everyone, every department of our company. So how can things change for these guys in Scrum team? Not that much. You know, things will improve for sure. They will feel better a little bit, and they will have some benefits of self-organization. But true change can come only if at least that middle layer of management changes, not to mention the guys and how they change. So we are talking about responsibilities of agile management. So changing the status quo. Can you imagine a manager in company that is doing agile transformation actually asking a question, why do we do this? We should try to improve or whatnot. This is very hard to see, you know, at least for my experience. They don't feel that it's their role, you know. If they think that there should be someone doing that, okay, maybe Scrum Master or Agile coach can do it, but managers hardly. To provide vision, not orders. To make clear goals, and then those goals to be aligned with sprint goals, with the operational level goals, right? Managers as enablers. We are talking about managers whose job is not to look at the team's work and to micromanage. Their mission is to create conditions, environment where people can self-organize, right? to help them in that. If they have some other people outside of the team who are not helping with self-organization, to talk to those guys, to coach them. There is a fabulous part of Lisa Atkins is talking about this, coaching managers, how to coach a manager to help the team in self-organization, how he can change things from his role much more than Scrum Master or Agile coach with his peers, managers, how he can coach his boss, you know, about agility. Fabulous stuff, you know, fabulous stuff, really. Okay, so let's see what kind of problems with managers can we have, huh? Okay, this picture is nice. Yeah, we are talking about a line.
If I may interrupt, I have a question.
Please, Marco.
Thank you. So in case of outsourcing companies where we work with outside POs and I know solution architects and stakeholders and so forth. So I just think it's important to mention, if just not to forget to, let's say, coach clients and educate clients in Scrum also, because they also affect decision-making through management, like they throwing their business requests, deadlines, and so forth, things that are simply just not aligned with the typical Scrum process. So that's quite frustrating for the teams. So I just wanted to mention that and to ask if there was some kind of solution about how to handle POs who just put forward sales requests and so forth. So it's like sales promise like super ultra cool feature for their users, and then PO comes with these requests and everything is urgent and there's pressure and it just affects the whole team. There's a high turnover rate, people are being rotated. So how do you handle this in practice?
Fabulous comment, Marco. Thank you for this. For outsourcing companies, what you said is absolutely true. So if you have outsourced product owners or whoever, those people are your customer. You know, they are not part of your team. You cannot think of them as a part of your Scrum team. They are your customer. And then if we are talking about a real customer, a company that has customers, I fully agree we need to coach them. How do we coach them? From day one, from the beginning. So when we sign contracts, when we start working with those customers, POs, whoever it is, we need to coach them about our process. Because from my experience, no one wants to destroy projects. Everyone thinks that they are doing the right thing until they understand that they are destroying something. So for example, if we are talking about changing priorities, if we are talking about product owner who likes to change his mind every 3 days and our sprint is 2 weeks, all we have to do is show him the cost of that. So what is the cost of changing priorities? What is the cost of switching context? How many days we will spend instead of working on previous priority on the new one? And is the new one really, you know, questioning the priority? Is that really a higher priority than what you had 3 days ago? So it's a process. And it requires a lot of time and effort and understanding that this is needed. Again, my question for you guys is whose job is this? Who should do this? What do you think?
Yeah, I can share simple feedback from my experience. Basically, we had to start from working with PO, discussing openly this, even going through some smaller conflict, or let's call it like that, productive discussion. So basically, the good idea is to present issues with just wrong approach in terms that they can understand, since also POs have to explain this to their stakeholders and so forth. So for example, in my case, if I have to say like, okay, our people are not satisfied, we have rotations every time we have onboarding, this means that somebody's busy, that means slower developments, less features and so forth. So just speaking in terms which they understand in business terms, just translating this in business terms, I think that can easily put them on our side and, you know, supporting the whole agile way of thinking and Scrum as a framework. So that's my experience. Just wanted to share this.
And you know what else? By sharing issues with them, you will build trust. The worst possible option is to say yes to everything. Yes, yes, we can do it, and then put the pressure on team. Issues should be shared with customers, stakeholders, product owners, if possible, of course. We have, again, environments where we cannot share with customer, okay? Then we have a different approach. But in general, it's very important for everyone who has influence to Scrum's, to teams' work, scope, however, to understand what is the impact of that. And show them the cost. You know, it's okay talking about onboarding, but open the task. For example, if you estimate in story points or in hours, show them 3 additional days we will have to work on this because of change priority, or 5 story points is the cost of this additional ticket because we need to move our attention to something else. And then they can decide. But yes, long term, this is bad. So there is no remedy, there is no cure that can help if you're switching priorities, if you're changing team members. So we are losing, I don't know, we are losing everything, lose, I would say. Okay, so we were talking about alignment and autonomy. So this is a very interesting example about how we can look at agile leadership, if you want. So depending on the level of autonomy and alignment, we need to resolve the problem of crossing the river. So in an environment where we have low autonomy, which means that everything has to be decided by someone else, and we have low alignment, people are not aware what they should do, how they should do. We have micromanaging organizations, okay? So managers are telling literally to people, go there, do this, and we have indifferent culture. People don't care that much, okay? So next environment that we have is low autonomy, but high alignment. So people know how to do their job. They are capable of doing the job, but they cannot make decisions by themselves. Someone else is making the decisions. So we have a boss saying, we need to cross the river and you have to build the bridge, go and build the bridge. We have authoritative organizations and conformist culture, which means everyone is okay with that, everyone aligns. You hardly can have some constructive, I don't know, conflict or discussion or something like that. Basically, this is the environment that we have. Then we have high autonomy. So people are capable and allowed to make all kinds of decisions, and high alignment, they know exactly what they should do, how they should do. And the boss is saying, we need to cross the river. This is the problem, figure it out, okay? So he's putting on them how to resolve the problem. We have innovative organizations that are thinking about solutions and collaborative culture, okay? And then this is something like a startup, okay? Organization with chaotic culture, where we have high autonomy but low alignment. So we don't have processes, we don't have agreement how we should do some things. People are confused, and they have high autonomy. And here we have this boss hoping that someone is working on a river problem. So all these things, why am I showing this? Because you can recognize a lot of things from your environment. We want to be here, okay? We want to be here. We want to have people collaborating on problems, resolving, included, involved, motivated, owning the problem. We don't want to have people that need to be told where to do, what to do, how to do it. But again, we don't want to have people who are not capable of resolving those problems. This is why we are talking about alignment. So it's very irresponsible to put self-organization on team that is not ready to self-organize. They need help. If they need help, someone should help them to get there. So someone should coach them how to be self-organized. Self-organization doesn't mean just doing the job. Self-organization means self-regulation as well. So if we as a team recognize that something is wrong with us, how we will fix it? If we have to call our manager every time when we have problem in communication or we don't know how to brainstorm about something, we are not self-organized team. So someone should help, agile coach, scrum master, manager if he's capable, whoever has the knowledge and experience to coach people and to guide them through this transition to become self-organized team, to be able to resolve conflicts, to be able to talk to each other in an assertive way, to provide feedback. Someone said at the beginning, I think so, it's a feedback, very, very important. If we don't give feedback to each other, how will we change anything? You know, I hope that they are working on river problem. I hope that the guy will change. Nothing will change, you know. We need to have all these tools as a self-organized team in our arms, on our, you know, in our, let's say, they should be our skills in order to be self-organized team. This is why we are talking about alignment and autonomy. Yes, autonomy, yes, people should self-organize, but we need as a company to provide them with tools, with knowledge, with help, you know, comments, anything. Okay, so what are the problems? We are an agile coach, scrum master, team member, whatever. We are in agile transformation. And what to do with problems that we have with managers? What kind of problems are there? So managers, first problem, they don't have enough knowledge and understanding about agile. They think that agile is something that will happen on operational level only for the teams. It's something for Scrum team or Kanban or whatever agile team. Has nothing to do with me, okay? So they were never trained. They didn't have the opportunity to understand what is going to change. They don't understand their new role. They don't see the place for them in agile transformation. It's very, very weird. If you're a traditional manager who has been leading the team on operational level completely, not, let's say, not telling to people what to do and how to do it, but they're present, checking on their progress, checking all the time what's happening, planning and whatnot. And then one day we say, okay, this is from today, this is a responsibility of the team. If we don't have alternative for that manager, he will be completely lost. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't understand that his role has to change. My problems are not on operational level anymore. I am building an environment where team can self-organize. It's a huge shift, really, and they need help with that. They don't accept to change anything in their work. They think that agile should be implemented only in agile teams. This is very common. They're not included in agile transformation. This is also something very common. So, okay, now you shouldn't be present on Scrum meetings, or you shouldn't be on retrospective or whatnot. Just imagine what kind of attack that is to that person. I'm 15 years manager in some company and someone is telling me that I cannot talk to my team. You know, it's a huge problem. We need to work with managers to make them our allies, our best allies in this. Really, there is no way that anything will happen without their support and their help. The managers step beyond their role boundary. Okay, but do they know that there is a boundary? Who told them you shouldn't go there? You shouldn't do that. So it should be something really open to management. It shouldn't be closed, like this is just for teams. Okay, Scrum Masters don't give enough time and attention to their glue coordination role across teams. Well, some Scrum Masters, they don't even understand that this is their role. This is also something, you know, it's nowhere stated clearly, like it's your job to coach this, I don't know, managers or line managers. And it's depending on companies. Some companies, they don't want that. So really, it's up to environment. Product owners behave like managers. This is really also one of the pitfalls. Under pressure, managers revert to traditional top-down waterfall behaviors. This is fabulous. You know, you work with the guy for 6 months, for 1 year, 2 years, everything is fabulous. And then you have deadline and you have to deliver something and he's back, calling the people on the phone, you know, making the pressure, what's happening? No, this guy should take this, he's more experienced with this, leave the other guy for another thing. And then you just remind him. You remember what we talked about, but under pressure, really, people tend to get back to where they feel comfortable. So this is something that is something that we can see very often. And what is let's say, remedy for all this, how we can help? We can help by including them in Agile transformation. So if they are our change managers, if they are our allies, if top management is basically leading Agile transformation, then we don't have these problems. There might be some other problems in implementation and there might be some other problems with self-organization, but at least we will not have managers breaking this. You know, we achieve something 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards. Okay, guys, truth or myth? Bring a group of individuals together and you have a team. You know, how many times I hear, well, the team, this team, that. We are working in a work groups a lot. We are not aware of that. We are not aware that we don't have a proper team because we don't work that much to build a team. How do we build a team? How do we hire for the team? You know? So Mike Cohn is talking about it like you cannot put random people in Agile team. It will not work. It will not work in any team. It has nothing to do with Agile. There are companies who are making really, let's say, detailed analysis of people who will join the team. I know that
like of their character.
Not just character, not just character. There are various things. For example, we want to have diversity. We want to have diversity culture-wise, age-wise, gender-wise, everything. Why do we want diversity? Because it's proven. Scientifically, it's proven that the teams without diversity, they achieve, they get, they don't have disagreements, okay? And they agree much faster.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
But wait a second, so teams without diversity. If we have a team of 10 guys who are all, I don't know, between 45 and 50, and they are experts in some topic, okay? So they will agree very fast, okay? They don't have to
usually,
they will agree very fast, but they will not discuss all the alternatives. That's scientific.
Yeah, the perspective, the other perspective is missing there.
Yes, you don't have other perspectives, and sometimes juniors are asking very good questions. If they are not encouraged, it's a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity. So we want to have diversity in team. We want to have seniors. We want to have juniors. We want to have people with different experience. We want to have team players. We don't want to have individualist players. You know, there are a lot of things. I'm not an HR expert, really. I'm not an expert in this area, but I know that companies are making those analyses, but when they are creating the teams, you can read
individuals that are willing to change in some way and to interact.
Yes, of course.
So there are conditions. Definitely, there are conditions, but they are not attached, especially to our character or some type of job experience or maybe years or something like that. It's mainly, if I understood right, attached to willingness to participate in creating something together and sharing maybe some values.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What I'm saying is that when we are creating and when we want to achieve high performance in self-organized teams, okay, We need to understand that it's a work, it's a job, it's complicated and complex.
Yeah, and it's not a fairy tale. Yeah.
Yes, it's not just let's have a team. Let's have some people and let's give them the opportunity to self-organize and everything will be fine. It's not going to work. We will not have the benefits that we are talking about. We need to think about it as a project, you know, as a serious problem to resolve. Then another truth or myth. Give a team a goal to work towards and you have a self-organized team. Yeah, right. We are talking about goals, rules, and pressure, okay, as three conditions, main ones, but we talked about the environment. So the environment has to be aligned in order for all these things to work. The way we promote people, the way we, what the system of incentives do we have? How do we communicate? What is our culture in our company? All these things, they will influence. And as I said, sometimes we will be lucky and we will have right people on the right team, motivated with right experience and knowledge and whatnot, and it will happen. But if we are talking in general about building self-organized teams and achieving self-organization that we want, we need to understand that this is a job for the full company. It has nothing to do with, it will have limited benefits if we put it only on Scrum team and Scrum Masters. It will have limited benefits. And the last one, self-organized team is self-managed and doesn't need managers. So huge misconception. Simply, we talked about the role of management and I hope that we clarify this.
Yes.
So what are the anti-patterns that can prevent Agile team from self-organizing other than all those things that we listed? So authoritative behaviors, any type of authoritative behaviors in company can really destroy self-organization. So we, as a Scrum Masters or Agile coaches, we really need to maintain this no level, no label policy, which means that everyone in the team should feel free to speak their mind, their ideas, and everyone should respect everyone's opinion. And why is that important? It's important because very often we will see that people with more seniority or more years in company or something like that will have more saying, or they will be very loud and vocal on making decisions in the name of team. And other people who briefly joined the team or are more junior will not feel free to speak up, will not be free to say their mind or whatnot. It's our goal as Agile coaches, as Scrum Masters, to create this environment, whether with facilitation or with coaching, where everyone will be able to talk and should talk. Basically, everyone should talk. It's not will be able on our Teams meetings. Some people are introvert, extrovert, whatever. But if we are talking about business, if we are talking about either refinement or retrospective, if we are talking about improvements, everyone should have their saying and their ideas, right? Not just senior guys. Other things that can destroy our self-organization, this partiality. So people make some kind of silo or group inside the team. You can see that, for example, in companies where we have feature teams, but then we have a couple of, I don't know, developers on iOS or Android or something, and they create a small group, and or a couple of seniors and then a couple of juniors or something like that, based on culture and backgrounds or whatever. People simply create some sub-teams and communicate among themselves. So this is very dangerous. If we see this as Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, we should make sure that we will coach the team to break those silos inside the teams. Struggles with collaboration, communication, coordination. This is something that we need to address. Of course, communication is the most important one, but really it's very hard for team to learn how to collaborate. They need to This is why we are talking about long-term teams. They need to meet each other. They need to understand who is who, how they communicate, how they work together. They need to learn collaboration in that team, because different teams will have different ways of working. So this is also something that we need to pay attention on. Habits and beliefs. Some team members might deviate from some team's agreements if they have some habits or beliefs that are not aligned with team. Also, failure to act on improvement plans. This is very interesting. When we are talking about retrospective, and there are a lot of examples where teams, they have retrospective, they talk about their sprint, they talk about improvements, and then they expect that someone else will implement those improvements. They don't own the improvements themselves. They think, well, either management or Scrum Master or someone else should take care of these things that are not working in our team. So this is very important for us Scrum Masters, Agile people, to coach the team actually, that it's their ownership. Improving their process is their ownership. So this is destroying self-organization if we expect that someone else will resolve our problems. And then very often we see a lot of Scrum Masters doing that for team because they want to, they think it's their job, you know, like resolving all the problems in the world for the team and not putting anything on them. And there are other teams, for example, I will give you an example of one team that creates action items after retrospective, and they actually put it in the next sprint planning. So they have a sprint ending on Friday, and on Monday, when they have sprint planning for next sprint, they put action items from retrospective as tasks for themselves to finish during the next sprint. So they have full ownership over their improvements. And of course, waiting for directions, we talked about that. But there are times when a Scrum Master or product owner or someone will not be able to help, to assist. Team should be able to resolve the problems and to figure it out, simply, to figure it out. So waiting for manager to resolve problems, waiting for Scrum Master is not helping anyway. How can Scrum Master help? How can Agile coach help? By coaching them and expanding, if you want, their abilities to resolve problems. We don't expect that the team that barely started to work together will be able to resolve conflicts. But our goal, our end goal, let's say, is for them to get there, okay? In 3 months, in 6 months, in a year. Our goal is to get there. Okay, guys, now your time. Questions, comments, experience.
I just dropped one question in the chat section. So if you can just clarify for the newcomers term informal silos.
Mm-hmm. Well, simply, you know, you have a team and a couple of people form a subgroup, you know, like team has 9 people and then 3 or 4 guys create some silo or subgroup inside of the team, whether they are working on one type of job, or they are all seniors, or they are all girls from some city, or whatever is the reason for them to create a silo. And then they communicate among themselves and they don't communicate with the rest of the team, or they have poor communication with the rest of the team. You know, if you recognize that, if you see that in the team, that is a sign that you should help the team to get back to self-organization. Yeah, front end and back end. Yeah, testers and developers. Oh, the most common one. How could I ever forget about this? You have a Friday beer and the testers are on one table and developers on another. Yeah, so any type of subgroups, you know, sub-teams inside of the team can really influence self-organization. People supporting Liverpool, yes. We have that. I remember that example clearly. So why we don't want to have this, beside obvious reasons? We are working on building the team. Okay, so we are working on building the team with all team members included. They are all the same. They should communicate. They should collaborate. We cannot achieve anything with having a couple of guys working and the rest of them being outside of everything. Okay, guys. Question. Did you have some kind of experience with some of these anti-patterns of self-organization? Authoritative behaviors. Does anyone has experience with, I don't know, like very talkative, vocal people in teams fighting to prove that their idea is the smartest one?
Yep.
Yeah. So how do we deal with that?
Well,
what do we do with those guys?
Well, from my experience, at least, usually there's a role behind it or a position, for example, team lead, tech lead, somebody with seniority there, and he or she like takes over talk during the refinement or grooming meetings or tech talk or pre-refinement sessions, whatever. So basically, it's a good thing to do, like to be a good facilitator, to, let's say, poke juniors to say, what do you think, to use some tools, for example, when estimated stories, to see if there's a difference. That way we can spot the difference, for example, in estimated stories. So this is using planning, poker, and so forth. So there are some good practices, but yeah, usually there's one spokesman for the team during the planning and refinement sessions. This is the place where it just we can see it. So,
and it's extremely hard with distributed teams, because in let's say office environment, when we are not online, people look at each other, and when I look at you, I expect that you will talk. But here in online setup, it's very hard to give this sign. Hey, what about you? What do you think? You know, you literally have to ask. But Marko is right, they are fabulous tools. So we can break our team in breakout rooms, which will force them to talk more. So if you have 5 breakout rooms of 2 people, they have to talk to each other. There is no way, even if one is talking and the other one is not, at least you will have 5 people talking about the topic. Go, Maya.
Thank you. Yeah, all of those things that Marko just mentioned. And when we talk about authoritative behavior, what comes to mind is people who have big ego, and they're hard to coach. They at some level they understand what you're saying, but they find it really hard to implement. So in my experience, that's one of the biggest problems, if you like, because they're hard to coach. Mm-hmm. But I while you were talking about anti-patterns, some others came to mind, like kill the messenger type of thing. When things become transparent and you somehow, as a Scrum Master and other people in the organization, you manage to create this safe environment for people to open up and start talking, and then you have this poor guy who finds courage to say what everybody else sees and thinks, but don't have courage to say out loud. Well, they say it, and then what happens is the kill the messenger type of thing. That's a buzz killer for self-organizing teams, because then everybody else will think, well, why should I bother voicing my opinion or verbalizing everybody else's opinion, because I'll end up like this guy. So it's
yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
this is great. Thank you, Maria.
Welcome.
Finally talks, and then bad things happen. Yes. This is also something that very often can happen. And regarding the people that are very hard to coach, I want to add 2 things. So if you read about coaching a little bit, and I like this a lot. regarding agile coaching. Coaches are saying, we are coaches, we can try to help, but we are not therapists. So there is a limit. There are some things that we cannot achieve, right? And we should be aware of this. So if someone is not coachable, if you cannot coach someone, if there is a saying in Serbia, I'm not sure how to translate it, if his barrel is full, you cannot fill water in it anymore, you know? So we have to find a way to operate with these people, to collaborate, to still not to destroy the teams. And then if situation is very serious, my experience tell me that we should include HR, you know, they should help. You know, the question is whether that kind of person should be in self-organized team. Maybe there is some better role for that person to work individually or something like that.
Maro, we have one more question. That's a question from Marija Nikolić. What with increasing number of teenagers working with us that are on spectrum, any agile approach we can use with communicating with them?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, this is a topic that a lot of agile coaches are addressing. I think that Ken Schraber was talking about the condition in IT industry in general. So every 5 years, IT industry developers mainly and testers, they double, the number doubles. So that means that in IT industry, in every moment, the half of the people that work currently have less than 5 years of experience. And
exactly. And I have a team that's consisted of 30% of them are under age of 20. And
yes.
Increasing number of people on spectrum. They're not autistic fully, of course, or anything like that, but they are on spectrum. They are aware. It's all good. We love them, but there's a special way to communicate with them. And is there anything that Agile came up with that could help us out? Thank you so much on that.
Yeah, this question was very, very good, Marija. I want to say thank you to Maya for that question. So I would like to ask you the same, because as a person who is not under 20s, I am nearly at my 30s from the short period of time. I want to ask you, Marija, is the main point of Agile coach or about Agile generally to solve the problem in communication? I suppose Maya wants to say that the problem can be in general communication because they are too young but somehow so strong in their thoughts.
Yeah,
Maya,
it's not
me.
about them being young. I'm not addressing that at all. I got it. I mean, there are boy geniuses, girl geniuses out there that are 70 and they're rocking the world. I'm talking about increasing number of them being on spectrum. That's additional thing that is not only dedicated, but this is the generation that are coming. Sorry for the back noise. I had to switch places. Due to the increasing number of autism worldwide and people being on spectrum and being diagnosed, they're self-aware of it. And their generation is just coming. In the next 5 years, it will double. In the next 10, it will triple the number of employees, the number of team members that are on spectrum. That's a generic, not generic, sorry, that's a trend that's happening without our control. It's not something we can control.
Yeah, good one.
Thanks.
Yes, to be honest, I didn't see anything in Agile community regarding that topic, regarding resolving problems in communication a lot. But I don't think that this is a problem only in communication. This is probably a problem in mindset and perception of everything. So starting from themselves and the environment and what a job should offer, you know, they don't need anymore just a job to work on. They need a mission, they need goals, different type of goals, they need context in their life, they need the environment, they need society, they need everything else that is lacking to be provided in their jobs. So I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on this topic. I can just maybe offer some offline links for you to read or something like that. But definitely is going to be an interesting topic to see how it will develop, because we are getting there, all of us. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer. Maybe someone else has. I would say probably better communication of expectations from them, you know, but then how to communicate, I don't know, really. Anyone else?
Maya raised the
Go,
hand.
Marco.
If I'm...
Maya was first.
I don't want to take over your meeting with this question. If it's not something that's most important for everyone, I just wanted to check. So please don't feel obliged or anything like that. Maybe someone, excuse me?
We have people who want to talk.
Okay, then great. I just didn't want to hijack with this topic anymore, because I address this issue at my work and just wanted to check if there's something out there already and I'm not aware, but if it's not a majority on it, we can move on. Thank you so much.
Let's hear. I'm not aware, but maybe some other people are. Go, Maya and Marco. Let's hear.
Thanks. I would say, as you mentioned, Maro, manage their expectations both ways. So be very clear on what is it they expect of their work, and what is it that work expects of them, and manage that, maybe not on a daily basis, but very often. And when we see conflicting interests or anything that's of conflicting nature, manage it and be very open about it. Provide feedback, ask for the feedback, and manage expectations along the way.
Okay, so sorry, did I interrupt or?
No, Marco.
Okay. So just to clarify, so this question refers to young people with behavioral disorders, correct? Or any specific issues. So that I just wanted to widen that topic. It's a really good topic, rarely discussed. I just want to widen it in general, like the issue of mindset and recruitment pool, and just where do we find people who are good fit for the team. For example, I received one really important feedback from one mentor a long time ago. So he said, like, when we form a team, it's really important to find people who align on work ethics, and that means habits and, you know, the way they work, the way they function. And if there's something different out of the ordinary, that should be addressed at a very early stage, even before joining the team. So if there's anything specific about onboarding or working with that person or people, this should be discussed, I think, with HR. There are people that should have most insight about how should people work. And also I think that team members and agile coaches or project managers should be people who would offer insight to the recruiters. What do they expect? What kind of work ethics within the team, and how should that work? You know, how do they set goals? You know, what kind of involvement? So this should be like some kind of interactive process between recruitments, HR, and I think team members or agile. I think that when the person is already onboarded and we are working and we are having issues, that's I know if that's a little bit late to work to solve like a problem, or it's more of a challenge than at very early stage, but it's not impossible. I think in that moment this should be discussed with people who have more experience with these kind of behavioral issues or something like that. I'm not sure that Marija said correctly. We are not so much qualified in this, but it's a really interesting topic, really interesting.
I agree. Very interesting topic. And yeah, probably we will all reach out to HR to help with those things. Ivana? Yes?
What I find related to HR very common, unfortunately, is that HR is not, doesn't have a proper, if I can say it, proper education for that. Usually HR, in my experience, a group of people consisted of people who have no education related to psychology or something similar, which I would expect, for example, in helping in these issues. In my company, what we did is introducing a habit of the whole team, for example, doing the interviewing process. Because because the teams had a really bad experience with recruiting people from HR who are unskilled, who were obviously unskilled to do it. So it's good, you know, everyone gives their own. If we, for example, scope the questions and something on that psychological level, if possible, to fit the team, that would accommodate. But with the teenagers, I think the best thing is to have not to have more than one in the team, so that, you know, they have mentors, and because I totally understand the new generations are aliens to us, and they need they switch contexts very quickly and are very unsatisfied.
Their attention is gone a few seconds.
Yeah, they all have a disorder. All.
Very, very hot and interesting topic, I assume. Yes, I want to add one more thing regarding HR. I'm not sure whether this is a situation everywhere, but at least in Serbia, in IT, it is. Companies are focused only on skill set, meaning technical knowledge. So it's very hard to find even a fit for technical knowledge, and then you don't even go into that direction, whether the person is a team player, would fit the team or something like that. It's more like if he has a technical skills, we will figure it out. So unfortunately, this is a current situation, and I don't expect that it will be like this all the time, but right now we are there.
So we have Mara Simojlovic or Ivana Spasovic. I don't even know who raised the hand first, so I'm sorry if I make wrong decision. Mara Simojlovic.
Just a short comment, because I'm 22 and I recently discovered Agile World, and I'm aware of my knowledge that is just starting to develop. And regarding that question that Maya asked, I think that maybe that approach you mentioned to clarify in the beginning of communication, to clarify what are the main values of everyone in the team and the company. So when they are working, they have to have those values in mind, and to maybe adjust, to see in the first period, like maybe a month or two, how did they adjust to a whole new world, because we are used to traditional structures of work, and teenagers are not 20 plus, or not we have that state of mind that is it's adjustable. I think it could be changed, but especially in Serbia, we have that in education system. It is not easily fixed, so we need time, and we need that onboarding so much. We really do. Onboarding not only by managers or team leaders, but onboarding in general with the team, to bond with the team and to really understand the cause of the company, not just the actual tasks, if you know what I mean.
Yes, of course, we all
Sure. And I think you, Maria, were at least, or Yasmina was at some point on our orientation hiring events, where actually anyone who wants to join us is interviewing us or me or our CEO or anyone else. even in their onboarding presentation, it's Agile Humans is mentioned as they will do the Agile transformation. And new generations that are joining, that are super young, they will not work in any other company unless it's Agile. So they're in love with Agile. They understand all the values. They're on board with it. They're excited.
Yeah, when you realize
there's no
what
issue
it is.
on that side, but they are on spectrum and they are different, and that affects everyone, including them. It's not about, we do share same values and share goals and visions and missions and Agile way of working, but these are new generations. There are more to come. It's an influx that I see in my late age, that it's really changing the way how we do work. And I thought maybe someone has an experience, but if you do, then come to me and reach me back one-on-one so we can share our own experiences.
I wrote it
and maybe
down.
come up with something.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wrote it down so maybe we could use it as a topic for one of our next meetups. And of course, it's so interesting, and it's necessary to find that kind of approach that works for everyone to overcome those challenges. So thank you, Maya, a lot.
Thank you, everyone, for your great comments. Thanks.
I think we had someone else who wanted to add something. Who was Alexander? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was Ivana, but I'm afraid she raised down her hand.
Yeah, I
just
forgot.
A little. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Ivana, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I forgot to lower my hand. That's the problem with the.
Yeah, a lot of raised hands tonight. You know, a lot of raised hands tonight. So that's good.
That's good.
Good.
Okay, guys.
We are close. We are actually close to the end. So, guys, if you want to...
Actually, hold on. I was trying to get to my...
okay. It's cool. Okay.
Sure. Just one comment on the topic before. We here are not psychologists. We should refrain from labeling anybody as on spectrum or anything, unless they disclose that to us, in which case it is a private conversation. So let's be respectful. Secondly,
yes, they do. I would never share this unless they would come openly with the first opening line. Hi, my name is this and that, and I'm on spectrum, and I want to check if you're the right company that I can work with. So it's very, very open and very, they joke on their own account, and they see when they miss the communication signal. It's there. I'm not labeling them in any way being sick or different, but they are different.
Thank you for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying.
Of course, I would never do that. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying the specific situation. Secondly, this is a question that's not an Agile question. In any working environment, if somebody comes up and says that, it needs to be resolved somehow. So one question would be, especially if the person self-identifies, is what do you need? What can support you? How can we work together? What cues do you need, especially if the person says, I'm missing social cues? Then what form of cues would make sense for you? Do I need to spell things out? Do I need to say it 3 times? Do I need to be more visual or more whatever the situation is? So it is a question of clarifying. And if this is discussed, somebody mentioned earlier that you do interviews as a team, it is to be discussed with the team. How can we work with this person? And what is the maturity of the team to work with a person like that? So it's not an Agile question, and it is something that could be addressed in a human way, especially in a case of self-identification. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, we somehow did say almost everything around that yes, we are not psychologists. We shouldn't do that. We should have support from HR who could be psychologists. That will help a lot. And I think that the topic will be connected with Agile because this is the generation that is coming in business environment with this problem that is very often. So we are not, this is something that we see and we understand as the topic that might come to us. How it will be resolved, I still believe HR and psychology, but we are there to understand what is happening and to be ready for that, yes, and to help them and to help ourselves. Okay, I think that we have some other, this is a comment from Maya. If they have technical skills, we'll figure it out. She likes that. Yes, this is unfortunate.
Not Maya than me, but I will say thank you and bye everyone. Sorry for interrupting. I really need to go. Everyone helped so much.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you so much for coming.
You,
I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too. Have a good one, everyone.
Okay, do we have some other experience to share or question to ask or anything regarding self-organization or not connected to self-organization at all? If not, I would like to thank you for this a lot and see you next time, guys, on our meetup. Thank you for this. I think that we accomplished the goal from the beginning to have shared knowledge, understanding, experience, and to actually benefit from having a lot of people on meetup. Thank you all.
On behalf of Agile Humans, I would like to say thank you very much to all of you. You're a great community, friends, and Marija, you were great, and we are so happy to have you, and I hope we will see you next time. So guys, have a nice day, night, whatever, it depends on the time zones, and thank you for sharing this part of time with us.
Thank you all.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.